This is a 1937 Plymouth business coupe. As you can see, there's no back seat. There are some handy shelves, spare tire back there, and there would be a shelf back here you could put some more stuff. And that's Norman. He's just hanging out. It's a pretty simple car, really. Just in case anyone was wondering, battery is under the front seat. 6 volt. It's kind of typical of your car of the era. 3-speed floor shift, manual transmission, coupled to a Flathead 6. I believe it's a 201 cubic inch Flathead 6. 1937 was also the last year for the crank out window. This one's kind of messed up, but you see that open up. You could rotate that. Well, I guess it's really messed up. Well, I guess that's why you don't touch things. Oh, how did that even come out? Ah. Got it. There we go. It would snap in there, and the window would open up. It's kind of just free pivoting now. You see, there's hinges up there. You got your basic fuel, oil, heat, and amp gauge, speedometer. No radio in this one. That's kind of stuck. Oh, well, there's no glove box in there anyway. And this did go to a car show at some point. 1991 Crocker Park September Picnic and Car Show. And down here, it's a throttle. You could pull that out to keep the throttle up. Panel light for the switches, or the gauges, I should say. I believe the headlight switch, maybe choke, was down here too. This knob here, some people might be familiar with. Push that down, that opens your cowl vent. They actually work pretty good. Kind of overkill, I guess. You got a cowl vent, and you could crank the window. Anyways, this is your handbrake. Down is off, on. And the starter is actually that button right there. So to start these cars, you push that button in. And over there is the heater. Not very sophisticated. And a horn would have been this button, but it seems to not be proper operating condition. Door panels are missing. You got your crank down windows. Kind of neat that the divider actually goes away. I guess you could take the vent window out if you wanted to make some cool custom, possibly, I don't know. But I like vent windows, so I wouldn't do that. Old markings from the factory. Okay, 32. Maybe that's inspector number 32. I'm not sure. This car is multiple colors, but from what I can tell, it originally was black. And the wipers are there. Of course, they're not installed. And there's the vacuum hose for the wipers. Visor's seen better days. These cars are neat because they got butterfly hoods. So you can open it up here and got some horns. You see that Flathead engine. Very simple, really. Got bumper guards there. I believe these you can still hand crank. This actually comes off. And if you look in there, you can see a hole. You could actually, well, I guess since this one has the front bumper guard, it wouldn't be so easy, but I think you'd be able to turn in a hand crank and actually hand crank the car if you wanted to. You can see the Plymouth crest, it's pretty neat. And the hood ornament, which is a ship. It's bold 1937 California plates on here. And this one's got sealed beam headlights, but originally it would have had bulbs. They made conversions back in the day so you could put sealed beams in them, which isn't the worst thing. Other side here, got my auxiliary fuel tank, since the original gas tank is in the trunk and not installed. As you can see here, the 1-barrel carburetor. And the fenders has vents, a little extra cooling. I'm not sure if they all had this. It seems like some didn't, but these things pop up, and so you can prop the hood on it. I guess so you could have both sides open while you were working. Kind of a neat feature. Maybe it was an option. Not entirely sure, because it don't seem like they all have it. Kind of got to push that down there. And as with most cars of the era, there's only a lock on the passenger side, because you would normally park on the right side of the road next to the curb, so you'd have to unlock your car from this side. Same deal here. Push Norman out of the way here. There's the spare. Also, I believe having 2 taillights was optional. This one has 2. And it's kind of neat if you look, when you lift the trunk lid up, all the way up, get it to lock in. As you can see here, the business coupe had a really long trunk. So you could store all your sales gear or product or whatever you were trying to sell or haul. I mean, it wasn't necessary you were a businessman. You could just use this to haul stuff. There's the gas tank, some extra parts. So pretty big trunk. I believe this is also the cheapest model, so I guess in a lot of instances people might have just had one of these because it was the cheapest one. I guess if you didn't really need to haul more than, say, 2 or 3 people and didn't need a back seat, this would work. Now, it's kind of neat too, like I said, if you look at the hinge, if you lift it up again, it pops it back out, and you can close the trunk without having to use your other hand. A lot of other cars in the area, you had to actually push a button on that latch. And here is your key lock. So, this is where your gas fill cap would have been. But you can see the black paint. 16-inch tires. Those tires are pretty old. 616 Firestone Safety Champion on this side. And another Firestone on this side. And an Armstrong Rhino on this one. Not sure who made that. Armstrong Rhino. And another Firestone over here. And the running boards, they would have been covered in ribbed rubber. Of course, that's long since disintegrated, I guess. This car pretty much in California its whole life, I believe, so the sun probably baked it a bit. It's a little windy out here, so I apologize for any wind noise. You can see how the running board used to be. This one's still kind of intact. I got an antenna here, but don't really look like it has a radio. I guess it maybe had one at one point, I'm not sure. The side view mirror is kind of neat design. And then this one also has these optional bumper guards there too. This one's not too bad, not too rusty. From 1937, so kind of neat that you can still kind of drive it around. Needs brakes, but I can drive it around, goes through the gears and everything, got it running. Not sure last time it was on the road. I guess I'll insert some footage of it cranking up and moving somewhere around here. I guess we could show how it starts. So I got the handbrake on, push the clutch in. It's a 3-speed, so left and up is reversed, left and down is first, right and up second, right and down third. So we're going to put that in neutral. We can turn the key on. If you look down there, we got to push that button. Just like that. Got good oil pressure. The sun's kind of in the way, but there we go. Yep. It's always a good sign. And this thing has 95,920 miles on it. Not sure if that's the same mileage on the engine, because this engine runs great. I don't know if it's been rebuilt or overhauled at some point, but it's super quiet, doesn't smoke, doesn't leak. Then again, I guess it could have been taken really good care of. As with any car, key off to turn it off. And don't forget to put it back in gear so don't roll away in case that handbrake gets released. And with pretty much all cars prior to 1955, all your pedals and everything went through the floor. So that's what takes a little getting used to some people. And you can kind of drive the chassis around with no body because everything is connected to the chassis. So this whole floor pan will actually come out. You can see the whole engine and everything, which is pretty handy. And you know, you got your vent window, lock, unlock, open. Get that nice air blowing on you. You could have 2 vent windows, a cowl vent and a windshield vent. Probably stay pretty cool. Fortunately, the windshield's been busted, I guess, for a long while. Got the Plymouth ship there sailing. So this would normally be where the radio is. I don't know, maybe they had a radio under the dash or something at some point. Hard to say. It's pretty tight. I also mentioned pretty tight in here. You know, 2 people could fit in here relatively comfortably. 3 people, man, that's pretty tight. Especially with all your shifting the stuff here. I guess you'd have to really get to know the person next to you or get to know them. So you can see here with Norman pushed up against the door. Actually, if I shut this door, you can see my legs all the way up against it. There ain't much room. You could squeeze another person in there, I guess, but it'd be tight. Also, I think it's kind of interesting. These cars don't seem to have a door stop. So the door, like on more modern cars, the door actually hold itself open. This thing, it's got a stop just to keep it from cramming into the fender. You can see it down there. So that's got a stop on it so the door don't overextend. But it doesn't keep the door open. So things I never really noticed before. Things you're kind of used to on your more modern cars. But nice solid car. And I had plans on getting this thing going, drivable, but I just got too many cars, so I got this one up for sale. So it might be going away for too long. You see there, that's actually vents too. A lot of vents on this car, keep that engine cool. Hope you enjoyed the tour of the 1937 Plymouth Business Coupe. Really cool car. I'll probably have another one, or similar year at least, later on in the future. Maybe one that doesn't need as much work so I can just start driving it, since I got way too many projects. Of course, I say that, and then I buy more projects, so we know how that goes. But anyways, hope you enjoyed the video.